Hello, Vault Dwellers and Wastelanders. You are listening to Vault Broadcast, our interview talk show podcast where we interview creators from all across the Fallout space. We bring them on here. We have these fun face-to-face conversations across the internet, bringing together all these different players from different regions, different countries, and beyond. It's a great way to get to know other people out there who have as much love for the Fallout genre as you do. On today's episode, we are sitting down with Claire. Claire is a cosplayer, an artist, an events coordinator, and content creator with a huge focus on Fallout. Claire also founded and runs the Midwestern USA Fallout Cosplay and LARP group, aptly named Great Midwest Commonwealth. That is a lot. I'm super excited to sit down with Claire. As always, you can find all of the links to Claire's content and my own in the description below, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, or any others. And let me get the housekeeping stuff out of the way. You can use the code VAULT2 at checkout on the Bethesda Gear Shop to save yourself 20% off at checkout on all kinds of cool merch. They even restocked with some really nice shirts the other day, so go check that one out. If that code, actually, those are going to expire less, so I don't need to do my old routine about that. If you want to get in on the Fallout TTRPG that I love and host on our secondary channel, Tales from Tomorrow, well, then you can go to the Modiphius site and save 10% off at checkout with code BTales. And then finally, a reminder that all of my content is available to you at overseerkyle.com. There might be some reworks to which days of the week we release content, so stay tuned for that. I'm trying to figure out some ways to release our bonus content for Tales from Tomorrow in the same day. That way it's maybe a little less spammy towards people's inboxes or anything like that. Maybe it'll also be a little bit easier for me. But that's enough of me rambling. Let's get on with that and go talk to Claire. I will see you in a second, throwing it to future Kyle. Take it away. Hey everybody, welcome back. I am sitting down with Claire. As you just heard a few moments ago, Claire has this amazing reputation under their belt, and today we're going to learn even more. So Claire, welcome aboard. I hope you're having a good day. Could you tell our audience who has not met you yet a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. It's wonderful to be on today. It's my first time being on a podcast, so I'm really excited. I am Courier Claire. I am a cosplayer of 12 years, and I mostly focus now on Fallout, but I do cosplay tons of other stuff. And then I also run the Midwest regional Fallout cosplay and LARP troop called Great Midwest Commonwealth, which has been active for the past year or so. And that's kind of like the meat and potatoes of what I do. But, I make some content online. I make skits on TikTok. And I don't know, I kind of like to have my fingers in every kind of pie that I can get them in, because I think that makes for a very interesting creation space. So, yeah, I kind of do a little bit of everything at this point.
Absolutely. It is the day and age of wearing many hats from all the different platforms we're active upon. And we're going to go through your Instagram here a little bit later and that of the group that you created. I think right off the bat, though, let's talk about this. You got 12 years of experience in this, and I saw in your submission there, 15 years a Fallout fan.
Oh,
So being one for so long, how did that all merge and come about? If you want to tell us a little bit about maybe your background, where Fallout maybe influenced your cosplay, what was that inception like?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with my introduction to Fallout, because again, that's kind of my meat and potatoes, what I really care about the most these days. And I became a Fallout fan through New Vegas. It was my first game, and I played it, ever so long ago. Actually, for the first time, because of the person that I was dating, and I couldn't get into it on the first playthrough. Actually, I got to Prim, and I was like, "This is horrible. This game is terrible. I can't play this." Because I was a big Skyrim nerd, so I was like coming off of that, like Bethesda, title, adjacent, I guess, with Obsidian. But uh, and then I came back to it like a couple years later, and I was like, "Holy crap! This is actually the greatest game of all time. Like nothing else has topped it for me. Nothing else probably will top it for me unless they remaster it." Like it like captivated me in a way that no other video game had really grabbed me in a while, and that brought me into Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, and a little bit of 76 I've only played a tad of. But those really story driven character story games that Fallout, I feel like, does so well, they just really got me. Like, and so yeah, that's where I started with Fallout. But with cosplay, it's a much even, I don't want to say longer story, but it's a more diverse um, array of things that I've done. And I started back in 2013 doing Call of Duty Zombies cosplay and Team Fortress 2. So I was always a video game nerd. I always have been doing video game cosplay, but I only really breached into Fallout cosplay specifically, really in the last probably 5 or so years, as it got a little bit easier to find Fallout resources online and find cosplay. Because when I started, buying cosplay online was not something that you could really do as much as you can now. Or like, if you did, you would be waiting, crazy shipping times, or paying like even higher amounts to get them custom made by somebody instead of just being able to buy them online. So it's a very different cosplay environment back then too. Sorry, a little bit of a tangent, but
All good.
yeah, it's been a long time that I've been cosplaying, but Fallout is a more recent addition, despite being a fan of the franchise for so long.
That makes total sense. I've had some other cosplayers on at this stage, and one of the questions, you kind of already bridged it there, that I love to talk to people about is how that journey of getting different materials has gone. Because I don't know if you dabble in any way with 3D printing. Lord knows I don't. I'm not that technically savvy, but I'm always very impressed to see like those cosplayers who've really brought that into their space, and how much that saved them sort of the time and the struggle of not being able to find pieces. And I think even for the creators who don't own a 3D printer themselves or anything like that, it still puts a lot of that stuff in our price point and our budget. You can go on things like Etsy and the rest and grab 3D printed
Yeah,
little mini nukes and all the rest. So
3D
if
printing
you
is
want to talk a
amazing.
little bit more about that at all, like how, because you just mentioned you can now get that stuff easier. Has the Fallout sort of prop making or cosplaying community, you implied it sort of has grown and now things are more available? Could you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, totally. So, kind of like I touched on, when I started cosplaying, I've always been a thrift modifier. I'd say even about 70% of the costumes that I make these days are thrifted from the thrift store and modified, because that's the way that I find cosplay to be the most accessible, and also the most sustainable for the environment. Also, to be able to go to the thrift store and reuse old clothing to make new stuff. And so, for something like Fallout, it works so seamlessly, because everything can be a little dirty, it can be a little grungy, it doesn't have to be pristine and perfect. And like, I think that makes the barrier to entry for specifically Fallout cosplay so much lower than some of the other genres to get into for costuming. But yeah, I 3D printing is so amazing. I did not think that it would be something that would be accessible to me in my lifetime, because like, I remember when 3D printing kind of like came out as a concept, it was like those little pens that you could draw things with and like make little dinky whatever, but now like
For
I have
sure.
an anti-material rifle that one of the guys 3D printed for me and my troop. I'm looking at it. I'd grab it if I wasn't wired up, but it's just this like massive, nearly as I'm 5'11", it's almost as tall as me, 3D printed
Wow.
gun. Like, it's amazing, and it weighs, I don't know, maybe 5 pounds, 6 pounds, just for this plastic, piece. And the time to make it with a 3D print, as far as the print and being able to kind of let it go and let it sit there, as opposed to having to actively work on something, really does cut down a lot of the pain of making cosplay, and especially those little details. That's something I really like about 3D printing, is if you aren't really good at getting little details with like EVA foam or with whatever other media you might be using to make cosplay, those 3D printers can really get some amazing small details without having to like do all of that hand modeling with your own two fingers, like, it's so cool. And like you were saying too, being able to go on Etsy and just find stuff online, like, even if it's an unfinished print, and then being able to finish it yourself, makes working on cosplay really enjoyable too. And it helps people who don't have the resources to be able to fully hand make their stuff from scratch from the start, kind of get into the hobby without having to like have these insane technical skills that they see everybody else around them already having from years of experience. But that's all learned. I think it all comes with time, just in general.
For sure. I always tell people I've watched cosplay develop from the sidelines.
Mm.
I used to, in my teenage years, love World of Warcraft. I was big into watching sort of the Blizzard conventions. And boy, I'm dating myself when I say that would be back in like 2008.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, right. Oh my God, that's getting close to 20 years ago, sooner than I know. But you can imagine what early stage of cosplay was then. I mean, 3D printers hardly getting anywhere onto the scene yet, and I would listen and watch these prop makers and creators just that kind of came together as groups online. You'd see them post their pictures. You'd see some of them do longer YouTube tutorials about how it goes in the shop and all that. And I just have the utmost respect for cosplayers throughout the whole process, prop makers, the mix, because I know that not everything is certainly cheap to come by, not everything's easy to come by, and not everything's comfortable to wear out there. You know, these shout out to the
Absolutely.
people who've got their huge power armor on and like
Oh my
sitting in the
gosh.
sun. So I'm going to ask a question probably out of any order here, you know, because yeah, I'm going to bring the Benny cosplay into this because we've already seen some of this around here, right here. How comfortable is that? Because it looks like you're getting to wear something that is very accessible in all of these climates. Again, versus the people who are strapped into some heavy power armor stuff. It looks like you're getting off a little easy, but maybe that's not the case.
So it's definitely a mix, I would say. And just generally with my life in cosplay over time, I've kind of grown from doing these really intense, hard to wear just because they're cool. Like I did Mercy from Overwatch, and that cosplay took years off my life just to wear, you know, during the convention. So like picking these costumes that are a little bit more weather appropriate or a little bit easier to wear is definitely increased my lifespan, not only of the costume, but of just like my ability to be in it and wearing it. And I think my first, like, maybe poor choice wearing Benny was I was a creator at GCX in Orlando. Oh gosh, 2 weekends ago now. Yeah, 2 weekends ago. And that was the first time that I had ever worn like a suit blazer and a shirt and a tie and a wig in probably more than like 90 to 100 degrees with the humidity. And the con was a little bit of a walk through Universal to get to where the studios were, and there's not a whole lot of shade. So we were definitely feeling the heat of that. And yeah, that's I mean a perfect picture is from Cabana Bay. It was beautiful, perfect fallout backdrop location, and that's my one of my best friends, Kato P cosplay, is Mr. House, and we were, I don't know if how much swearing I'm allowed to
Oh,
do
sure, go
here,
for it.
but we were sweating our asses off. Like it was so hot that it just like we were having a good time, but it was like in the background, like sweat dripping down your back, you know, like taking your wig off when you've got a second to just like hold it so it's not so hot on your head. Like we're sitting in Margaritaville, like full suits, wigs off, like bald, just because it was so hot. And usually I'm better about picking costumes that are weather appropriate, but that was the one time because Benny is just my favorite cosplay to wear. And I felt like it was just too perfect of an opportunity to not, because the hotel we stayed on was this beautiful mid-century like themed hotel. It was just so cute, like so Fallout, you know. So it was worth it, but that was probably the poorest cosplay choice I've made in the last several months. I have warm weather Fallout cosplays to wear now, and I was wearing this instead. So
What is a warm weather Fallout cosplay? So if you don't mind me asking, because again, this comes from
yeah.
the utmost respect to all of you out there doing this. I think that's the point I like to drive home for the folks at home is cosplay truly is a labor of love. It is many
Yeah.
times fashion over function. So what is because this doesn't look bad. I mean, given again everything else you could have, it doesn't look bad in the terms of temperature, but
Yeah.
maybe just a little too much covering, or how do you have a more easy fallout weather
As far as
attire?
like I guess what I was thinking of, and I'm from Wisconsin, so I take this all from the grain of like normally I live in Wisconsin and it's hot and it's humid here, but it's not too bad. So like something like Benny, I would say is better suited for those kind of colder Midwestern fall, winter, spring where it's not so hot. And then just in this last year, I put together a great con costume. Like that's just like just the vest and like a pair of shorts, and like there's not really any specific pieces necessary for the cosplay besides like the vest with the logo on the back, so you can kind of do whatever you want. That's another great thing about Fallout cosplay is like you can kind of do whatever you want. You know, there's no boundaries as far as like what you can or can't do with your costume. Um, so I was just like, yeah, I'll just throw this together. And then, like, I'm in a Fallout cosplay, but it also doesn't really feel like I'm wearing a cosplay because I don't wear a wig. And it's like I'm just wearing regular clothes basically and a vest. And I look a little bit like beefed up because I've got some like armor or like some little props or something. But like it's a cosplay that I get just like compliments on from regular people when I wear it out in public because it's just a cool outfit, you know, like
That's cool.
so it's fun to kind of have that as an option too. It's a little bit more low key, and it's definitely a lot cooler to wear when you're not wearing like a thick blazer or power armor or even this my little vault suit top. The polyester, you know, if you're wearing it in the warm weather, can definitely start to get a little bit sweaty.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I, but like you said, how could you not wear Benny to that
I
perfect
know.
environment? Benny
It
Benny
was so
visits
cute.
Orlando. What an
I got a
adventure.
TikTok comment that was like, "Well, this looks like," or one from one of my friends that was like, "Why does this look like it was filmed with inside the Lucky 38 or something like that?" Because the background is just perfect. Like it was such a neat hotel. And I know for a lot of Fallout fans who went to that con, a big draw was like, "Oh, this hotel that looks just like pre-war Fallout." Like it was very cool.
That sounds amazing. And I want to talk a little bit about why you were drawn to Benny. I mean, this I can piece a little bit of it together based on your conversation earlier about how you got your first taste of Fallout. But what draws you to do Benny as so far as to do cosplay and keep him as a recurring within your wardrobe?
Yeah, so I think that I've always been drawn to the antagonists, and I always like the characters that are a little more divisive. And then I have always too been a proponent of gender bent cosplays, so like taking a character that's usually a guy and then making them a more masculine or more feminine, like cosplay, which is like kind of what I did with Benny, because I like the expression of it. It's almost like drag, you know, cosplay drag. But I was drawn to Benny because I thought he had an interesting look. I love some Matthew Perry, you know, RIP. He was an amazing actor, an amazing voice actor. And he has some of my favorite dialogue in the whole game. Like, I think he's just so fun to talk to, fun to interact with. He stuck with me immediately on watching that opening cutscene and just like listening to the way that he talks with you and interacts with you just in that alone. I was like, yes, this is totally a character that I could see myself like wanting to portray. And when it came to starting Great Midwest Commonwealth and like thinking about like what kind of costume do I want to wear for people to be able to recognize me by, and to be able to point me out and find me in a crowd. And what is the whole plot of Fallout New Vegas is finding this guy in a checkered coat. And any con that I'm at, I'm the only person there in this checkered coat. So like it's and it's made such a fun little niche reason to get to know people. And it's kind of like the people who get it, the people who don't thing. Because I'll pull out, you know, Maria or the platinum chip, and people are like, "Oh, holy shit! Like you're Benny!" Like I like it, like all clicks, you know. And I love having that moment, those kind of interactions with people, and just getting to see people's reaction to the cosplay because it's not a character that I feel like you see done a lot, which I think is a shame because I think he's a very iconic character, and I'm surprised more people don't cosplay him. To be honest with you.
You are his representation then. You are wearing the flag. You got it out there. You are being found.
Like, more
And I
people need to cosplay Benny. He's so cool.
take that, folks, at home. If you got the put that on your list for the other. I know we got a lot of cosplayers tuning in more and more, so you're going to start inspiring them. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the Great Midwest Commonwealth group, because you brought that up, and I love this idea of creators getting together, more people who are keeping the Fallout community alive at these events. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you decided to found that, how many people are in there with you, and what sort of events you guys get together and promote and put on.
Yeah, so I was really inspired by my buddies over in the New Arizona Republic. They are the like kind of West Coast, more Arizona, Nevada division of like the Fallout cosplay group slash troop vibe, and they have some amazing folks over there, and they have a really really strong community of Fallout cosplayers who show up and show out to their events and have a really strong friendship, like friend connection built between all the people in their group. And just seeing that, I was like, wow, I really wish that we had something like that here in the Midwest, because there was nothing. And I had been looking and looking, hoping to find a pre existing group that I could get in with. And there were some like really small ones or ones that hadn't been active in like 10 years, Facebook pages. Like, as much as I don't like using Facebook, it's a really great way to connect people with Facebook events and Facebook groups. So I'm like scouring, looking for just anything to get involved with. And I was like, well, if you want something done right, you just got to do it yourself. And with the help of like some of the other regional troops in the US and doing a whole lot of my own promoting and just talking to people at cons. Holy crap, running a Fallout cosplay troop has made me such a more of an extrovert than I thought I ever would be. Like just going up to and approaching cosplayers who are in Fallout cosplay kind of at random and being like, hey, I got to elevator pitch my group to you really quick because you're wearing a cosplay of this thing that I also love, and it's grown more than I could have ever anticipated. And we've been running for like a year and a half now. And we've got, I think, just about under 130 members right now. And it is just insane. Like, I honestly can't believe it, because I wouldn't have expected to get 100 people in my first 5 years, let alone, my first year. But there's such a demand for it. And as soon as I talk to other Fallout cosplayers about my group and about the stuff that we do and that we have planned, they're immediately like, where can I get involved? How do I get in this? Like, I've been looking for more Fallout community, and I truly think we have an amazing group of super talented, super passionate cosplayers and artists. And because it's not just cosplay too, there's other amazing just artists in general that are involved with our troop. And given them like an opportunity to highlight their costumes and learn how to make new things from the other people in our troop. And really, that was the goal at the end of the day, was just to connect people and to be able to find more people who like Fallout and more people who want to make costumes and help them put those costumes together. And that's why I started GMC. And I'm really stoked that so many people were into it and wanted to do it with me. So
That's phenomenal. I mean, I love to hear that there's even more than just cosplayers themselves in there, but creators and artists of different kinds. Because I think a recurring theme throughout all these episodes we do here is a reminder to folks that it can be easy to live in a silo doing any of this sort of cosplay or any sort of content creation around a video game that you love. These are fairly inherently single-player games. I mean, the whole Fallout series, except 76, is angled that way. And so you get people who go years of their life without knowing any other fans or friends who are into that sort of either going to events or just even hanging out in online social circles. It's something we see all the time in Fallout 76, people approaching that game for the very first time, not having any friends there, and how quickly they find a community can be a certain factor if they are going to continue playing or not. And I would feel very much the same if I were getting into cosplay now too, that finding events and groups like yours would just be a great sticking point. Like that would probably keep someone like me invested and engaged so much longer than trying to do any of it solo and show up to the events. And I think that's why we probably notice a lot of people trying to clump together, trying to find others. You said massive demand there. And it
Yeah.
shows with over 100 and some people in the first year. That truly is demand. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit more about how those the other creatives in the group work together. Like, are people? Is it something where people are kind of like requesting like a design idea? They're like, "Hey, I've got this concept. Can anyone make stuff for this?" Or how does that usually like flesh out among your group?
I would say there's like a really good mix of everything because we've got creators who are doing little short films. We have artists in there who do commissions. Like I know somebody was looking for sticker designs, and I've got one of my pals in the troupe who does these adorable little Vault Boy like custom cosplay sticker, designs. And it's like being a cosplayer kind of or being an artist in general, like once you do one thing, you kind of start doing this thing and it leads you to doing this thing and this thing and this thing. And I feel like kind of getting everybody clumped up in a tight knit little spot like that kind of gives people an opportunity to be like, hey, I can help you with that. Like I know how to do that. And it might not be like a skill that they necessarily like would promote for themselves usually, but we also do have a big like buy sell trade situation where people can trade items or buy items off of each other. And I'm trying to think of the other kind of stuff we do. I'd say like our big primary resource is mostly for costuming, as far as like building your own costumes go and helping people kind of like get into their first kit, get into their first build, because uh, a lot of people don't know where to start. So it kind of getting into this group, even if you've never cosplayed before in your life, you've never sewn anything, you don't know where to buy anything or how to do anything, there's going to be somebody in the troupe who has something that they can give you or something that they can share with you that's going to make it easier for you to find something, or online resources, or just like personal experience that helps you put a kit together a lot easier than if you were just trying to do it on your own and not know even where to start. So I think knowledge is our big primary shared resource between all of us, which is great. And then of course we do like meetups and in con and out of con photo shoots and stuff as well, so that our content creators and the people who like to share their costumes online are able to get photos. We have some amazing photographers in our troupe too, who are cosplayers on top of photographers, who are just huge Fallout nerds, and like it's just really an amazing melting pot of creatives that kind of come together just to make cool shit. I
That
guess is the best way to describe it.
that just sounds so fun. I don't know if
Yeah.
this is something you guys have ever actually done to this extent. I don't know that anyone does this, but I would just love to see a group of that level of creators with that kind of interest in a space where they could actually design and create together. Cons, I don't think would allow for anything like that. You got multiple directions to be going and all the rest. But have you guys done anything where you get people in the same space with like sewing machines and other pieces of kit? Again, I don't know. That's probably really hard to do with people's locales and geography, but that's the
That
thing
would
I would
be
want to be a
so
fly on the
cool.
wall for.
Oh, that would be so cool, honestly. I know, like, just to kind of touch base, sorry, my cats are everywhere.
Oh,
On
they're
NAR,
fine.
um, I know that they had some kind of like little crafting parties, like a couple of folks in my troop have had local crafting parties, but we haven't had anything like that yet. But that could definitely be a really cool opportunity for people to get together and kind of work on stuff. I know, like, maybe doing con panels, or I've seen crafting panels at conventions or something like that. It would be a really, really cool avenue for people to get into wasteland crafting because it's so easy, like at the end of the day, you can make cool stuff with just like garbage you find laying around your house, like doing Fallout cosplay. It's amazing, save every old t-shirt. But yeah,
Yeah,
that would be so cool.
what other genre can you get into where literal garbage around your house can can be an asset to your attire? Like it
It's amazing the random crap that I just like save. Like I like uh putting like zip ties on my jacket, like
Yeah.
my friends putting like, or one of my friends made a little pop tab like
Oh,
chainmail
cute.
piece that I have off the shoulder of one of my vests. Like it's just like the most random stuff. You're like, yeah, that's cool. It's wastelandy, like,
Yeah.
and if it's like, to kind of go to the kit building too, because part of it is like almost like character creation, like what what kind of character do I want to play? Like what role would my wastelander be playing? Like what kind of stuff would they need, while I'm building my kit? What would they be needing in their everyday life that they would carry on their person? And so much of that is just like random stuff, that you can find laying around your house, or that you find at like flea markets or license plates or whatever. And like it just makes putting together a costume really fun because it's so non-serious. Like there's no rules, which is awesome for somebody who's just getting into cosplay, who's worried about like hyper accuracy or their cosplay
Sure.
not being
Yeah.
up to par. And with GMC, I know with other groups like 501st, they'll have those kind of costume regulations, but we don't do that. We're very like beginner friendly. We want people of every skill level. We want to learn and grow with you. We want to help you, and if you're struggling with something in your costume making, we're there to help you answer those questions. So I think it's
I
made us a really
really
cool resource.
really like that you called out the 501st sort of comment there, because I always think Star Wars is such a, we've already kind of talked about this with the trash comment, but Star Wars is such an opposite end. Everything's polished and white and pristine, and if there's a speck of dirt on it, like, oh no, that is against the Empire's perfection in there. Whereas we get to just kind of roll around. You actually need to dirty your costume, go roll around in the dirt a little bit more out there.
I've
And
always said that. I'm like, man, like going out for like the Good Springs event or something. I was like, it's like returning to the holy land of Nevada, going to Good Springs. And I was like, I'll just go and roll around in the desert for an hour or two to dirty up my costume. Like, I don't even need to do the fake weathering. I'll just go do the real thing. you know?
absolutely. Yeah,
Uh,
we had a German cosplayer on here, Kelly, and she was doing a Nick Valentine one. She said, I'm trying to leave my coat in the sun more often so it wet, like gets sunburnt and all the rest." I'm like, I get it. You got to get that fade on there,
That
and you're
real
trying to do it the real
weathering,
way.
you can tell too, it makes a difference. Like I have friends who have had these wasteland pieces for 10 years, and the 10 years of wear really shows. Like, and I think that is so much more of an authentic like thing. And for a lot of people who are into wasteland stuff, it is very lifestyle for us. Like my whole apartment is Fallout themed. Like I share a birthday with New Vegas. That's a little fun, Claire fun fact. But like it's so it encapsulates every part of your life for a lot of us. So that real life weathering really is a testament to time on a lot of wasteland cosplayers cosplays, and I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. Time, passion, the people involved in all this are just, it's just next level. And so I'm really happy to hear you've got a very sort of entry level group that's welcoming people who are just approaching it for the first time, and giving that sort of guidance on the way. I think that's one of the proudest moments of the whole Fallout community, is just how welcoming people are, whether it's in game, whether it's online, whether it's in person. This community just has a lot of heart to it. Any group's got bad apples, but Fallout has a
Right.
ton of good ones. Like even compared
Out
to
of
other Bethesda products, like this game just has good people near and around it.
That's so true, honestly. Like just having cosplayed and been in so many online fandom communities, like I've noticed, especially, and I interact mostly with the cosplay side of the Fallout fandom at this point, but like the Fallout cosplay community have become some of my closest, most amazing friends. Like they are some of the most phenomenal people that I know, and some of the most authentic too. And I think that has like is what keeps and draws people towards doing like Fallout stuff, because the people are just so cool. Like it's amazing. I've never met such a passionate, like authentic group of people until I started getting into like Fallout and Fallout costuming. It's amazing. It's really cool.
It makes me wonder a bit if it has to do with the longevity people have had with it. Again, yourself, 15 years. Myself, I'm on the much smaller end of it. I think I'm at like 6 years, but even that is not, that seems small in my own head, but that's 6 years, half a decade.
That's
That's a
still a
good
long
chunk of
time.
time.
Yeah.
I was, I was putting this comment together in my head, and I'm like, I think where you get a lot of the more trolly types on the internet and such that kind of gatekeep communities in a harsh, negative way. I feel like those are the Fairweather fans that aren't really there for the success of the genre, the success of the thing that they love. They're there because they maybe want a hill to be a king on, and so like they're just community hopping in a sense. Whereas you get the OGs who are there for 5 to 15 years, and I'm guessing as I say this that their love and passion and dedication, they've had to survive a lot. Like Bethesda and the hands that it's changed from in the years prior, not always the best at meeting fan demand, not always doing the exact thing the community wants, and sometimes not really keeping the game community alive at all. But the players, the active people like yourselves that are out there cosplaying or whatever your folks are doing, they're the ones that keep it really alive, is what this podcast has shown me. That it's everyone that turns up to these events. It's the people that make them go around. That part of the community keeps the community alive and thriving is my takeaway from it all.
Yeah, especially for kind of like the older games in the franchise. I feel like the originals and then Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, like they haven't been really touched or acknowledged by Bethesda in so long that the Good Springs event, I feel like was such a huge thing for Fallout fans where it was like, "Oh my god, we finally have something to do. Like we have something to go to that isn't just like a kind of generic wasteland event or something that isn't really so Fallout specific or doesn't really like the Fallout stuff." And so to finally have this like really niche event, I think that made so many people so happy to have anyone acknowledge these games again for the first time. And I like remember just talking with the Obsidian rep that they had sent out the first year that I went to New Vegas Day, and I was like, frankly, I'm shocked to see you here. Like,
Yeah.
just like the fact that the developers or of any capacity are even acknowledging that this game exists right now and that the community has shown up so violently for it is amazing. Like, so I think they know now. They know what we want, and they know we want more Fallout. But yeah, the community has really kept the franchise alive. And I'm just happy to see that the older games still get so much love, especially now with how games have moved towards that really hyper realism.
Yeah.
A little like a lot of people won't pick up those older games because they run a little bit clunkier. They are not as fun or pretty to look at or aren't as smooth. And uh, so I'm glad that the community is still pushing out
For sure.
content, telling people to play them because they're super good.
So here's a question for you, completely speculative. Do you think what is old will become new again? Are we getting a remaster of New Vegas or a Fallout 3 in the near future? Because that's the speculation, that's the hype. There's especially a lot going on with the New Vegas area with Fallout Season 2 coming. Heck, they even teased that the TTRPG I run is going to get two
Oh,
books about that area. One is a single player adventure, one's going to be, I don't know, something more. So like clearly the Bethesda umbrella is honing in on that, and with a Oblivion remaster that no one saw coming and that
yeah.
hit to stellar reviews and success. What are you thinking? Do you think we are going to get a chance to go back to New Vegas trimmed proper and made pretty again, or do you
I
think maybe
think
this is a lot of hype?
I think if you would have asked me this question last year, I would have said no. I would have been like, "There's no way we're getting a remaster." Like, Bethesda does not care about New Vegas. Frankly, I would be equally as happy for a Fallout 3 remaster. I love Fallout 3. Like that is it's Fallout New Vegas and then Fallout 3 for me. Like I love Fallout 3. So I would be thrilled if they remastered that game too. However, at this point, and earlier this year, I would have said it's more likely we get a 3 remaster than a New Vegas one. But now, I think it's very possible that New Vegas is going to get a remaster, because with the show and like we went to
Yeah.
well, we were at GCX. They had a behind the scenes panel about the with the makeup artist Michael, who did
Ooh.
like was the lead makeup artist on the whole show. Amazing guy.
Oh.
Like totally cool to like get to talk to him and hear him talk about his experience working on the show. But just the amount of stuff they're doing with New Vegas in the show, and then like I guess with the TTRPG stuff too, that's amazing. I've heard that they're just kind of like it seems like they're really honing in on New Vegas, like
Yes.
secondary stuff, like adjacent to New Vegas. Like they put out those figures, the Ranger figure that of course
Yeah.
I pre-ordered one because how could you not? Um, but like they're really honing in on this New Vegas stuff. So I'm like, if they're gonna do a remaster, like now is the time. They're leading up to it basically. They're prepping us. I wouldn't even be shocked if it came in the next like year or two. Like
Oh,
it,
for sure.
yeah, like I feel like if they're gonna do it, it's gonna be like soon, because that season 2 of the show is just gonna make people want it even more than they already did. And the show already kicked probably New Vegas up into a lot more people's radars than it was before, just having never consumed any other Fallout content, but only having seen the show. So the demand is there. It's been there, but I think Bethesda finally is starting to see that demand and actually want to do something about it.
And that's a really interesting point you make there. I had a friend who knows nothing about Fallout other than the TV series, and he really enjoys the show. And he asked me about like all the content I'm doing. He's like, "Is that really a deep community that you can get into with Fallout?" I mean, he's a big Lord of the Rings nerd, so he like understands how deep YouTube goes in that rabbit hole and that umbrella. And I said to him, like, I think we're right now, we're not Lord of the Rings tier, we're not Star Wars tier, but we're not far from it. And the TV show really began to push the franchise up there and make it a household name, where before it was just a video
Absolutely.
game name. Now you get all these people like, ooh, this universe is rich and full of art that's accessible. I mean, again, you can go play Fallout 76 right now. Fallout 3 you mentioned, I think there's a good reason for that one to be remastered, in the sense that people say that one is one of the least playable games
Mhm.
right now. That's the one I think that constantly crashes for a lot of folks trying to get in there. And so I've heard like just a strictly accessibility demand for it, that like, hey, help us get into the game that we still
We
love
wanna
and
play
still
the
want to
game
play.
that you still let us play. Come on, man.
So that's that. I think you're right on the money when you say like this is the time for it all. I could totally, and we're just speculating again for anyone at home, but I could totally see Bethesda doing some sneaky drop with it, where they kind of like slide out a remaster right around the time of the TV series. Like that wouldn't surprise me. I'm not putting my eggs in that basket, but again, I could just see them being like, hey, our show's on Prime. By the way, New Vegas is you could go download that for whatever amount of money and go play it,
Oh,
and people
man,
would
that'd be such a
lose
gift.
it. Right? Right in
Oh,
time for the
man.
holidays too. I mean, people would
Yeah.
just their whole breaks going into watching and playing Fallout New Vegas. Oh my goodness.
No, I'm
But
so
I mean,
stoked the show brought so many new people into it. Like, it's awesome to get so many new fans to the franchise, because the games, if you're not a gamer, like you're not into sitting down and sinking 100 hours into a game like you do with some of these RPGs. Like the show was just a perfect encapsulation of everything Fallout for anyone who's not hardcore into the universe to really delve into from there.
looking at this photo that I've pulled up here, you can see we've got a ghoul there on the side with the head in tow, which I think is a fantastic prop piece. I want to ask the question kind of how much, and you could be as loose with this answer as you want, but how many cosplays that you've seen recently have been inspired by the show? Like, is that becoming like a growing percentage, or
I
are people already
uh
kind of set in their other cosplays still?
I would say it's definitely grown. Like the amount of people that have showed up to the meetups, just period, has definitely increased since the show came out. But I see more general vault suits than probably anything else. Like, so actually, the ghoul in that photo, Sean, they're amazing, absolutely phenomenal cosplayer. They make a bunch of like really heavy, Sean Sharp F. SFX, I think is their handle on Instagram, but just a phenomenal cosplayer. They do all kinds of that crazy SFX stuff. But not a lot, actually. I see a few Lucy's here and there, and then Sean's really the only ghoul that I have seen. Just not even the ghoul, just like ghouls, period. Like at our meetups, which I think is really cool and unique, to be like the ghoul cosplayer, like just in general. But I will get the occasional Lucy's, but I would say a good like 70% of the people who show up are like either vault suits or NCR Rangers are like the two that I see the most, which they're two of the most iconic Fallout looks
Yep.
ever. So how could you not? Like I mean they're amazing. So but yeah, I'm surprised actually we don't see more from the show because I feel like there's a lot of really cool characters in there for people to cosplay. It's so funny, we were just watching the Fallout show before I got on here to talk to you actually.
I love
Um,
that.
at one of our C2E2 meetup earlier this year, there was a Moldaver. I had never seen a Moldaver
Oh,
cosplayer,
wow.
and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, and she's such a cool, like, interesting character in season one.
Yes.
So I was like, and so it was like, and the only three cosplayers from the show were her, the wedding dress Lucy with the blood, and then Sean as the ghoul. And I was like, "Oh my god! Like, this is so perfect! Like, amazing little." Fallout show like cosplay trio. I was like, but I'm so surprised you don't see more because I don't remember. Oh God, I'm so terrible with characters' names. The blonde lady who's also in Vault
Oh,
33 with the eye patch. I'm
uh-huh,
like, I would
uh-huh.
love to cosplay her. Like, I love like. There's so many unique characters from the show that you can do just with like the vault suit or like I don't know. I'm surprised more people don't cosplay from the show to our meetups. I wish please come to the meetups dressed in Fallout show cosplay, I guess is what I'm asking.
Heck yeah. That I just think it's so cool, and I get it in a sense that these are new characters in the kind of the zeitgeist, the overall lore of it. Like you were kind of saying, the NCR Ranger certainly a common icon that we just see everywhere. So much a symbol of the genre as well as the vault suit. What surprises me a little bit in this one is we've got two lab coats here. Are these guys playing as like, are they like vault-tec doctors? What's going on? Maybe they're shifty wastelander
I
doctors.
think both of them are followers of the apocalypse, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
which I have as well. My boyfriend, which it's he wears my cosplays usually, but he does Boone, and then he also wears my arcade Ganon cosplay, which he's not in this photo. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're followers, which we do get a few of occasionally, and I feel like that's a really fun, simple cosplay to put together with the lab coat, and then with just the followers of the apocalypse patch. But I've seen Enclave scientists before at meetups in a lab coat. I've seen
Ooh,
vault-tec like representatives or vault-tec employees
that's
in like
cool.
the not the vault suit, but in like a coveralls kind of like vault maintenance kind of vibe. So I've seen a mix of like those kind of sciency maintenance cosplays too. There's a good they're a small group, but they are a mighty group, you know?
Absolutely. Gosh, the skill and the dedication that goes into these outfits we're seeing here on the side is just awesome. And
Yeah.
of course, we're looking through your group's Instagram page over here. Whoa. This is fun though. This is all great. I love it so much. Wow. One thing I would love to pick your brain on, maybe not in today's episode, because we're probably getting towards the end of this here, looking at the clock. But I would love, as you're going out to these events, and you mentioned panels earlier, I would love to get almost correspondence in a way that, like, after the event, come back. We would love to get a decompress from you
Yeah,
and others
totally.
that go and attend. I think that'd just be such a fun thing, assuming you enjoy your time on podcasting. I know
Oh,
this is the very
absolutely.
first, I think you said, time getting on it for an interview. So I would just absolutely adore getting more from people out there in the field, the experiences that are going on. GCX looking at it here, and I know there's a lot going on later this year. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say? But I'm blown away by it. And in the very end, as we begin to wrap up this interview, kind of want to ask you some questions about where you see your group going in the future, the Great Midwest Commonwealth. You've talked to us about how it's grown within a year to over 100 people. You've mentioned some of the events and activities that have gone on before. I really do still love that your people have already met for some small crafting sessions. Even that is just so cool to hear that level of detail and engagement. So where do you see this going in the next year, especially given all of the stuff we have on the horizon from Bethesda? What do you think you'll be doing next August?
So, I mean, just to talk very short term, we actually are making our first booth appearance at a convention this weekend in Madison,
Nice.
Wisconsin. So, we'll have a little photo booth and we'll be doing some trivia just to kind of show off like some of the people in our troops' work, to show off some of their cosplay, to meet new folks. But overall, in the next year, I'm actually hoping to take GMC more towards the LARP side of things, and obviously still doing the meetups and photo shoots and all that stuff. But I when I started GMC, I was like, wow, I really wish that I could make some Fallout friends to do Fallout Airsoft LARP with. So now that we've got this crazy, awesome group of people, and the Venn diagram of Fallout fans and Airsoft players is like just a circle, I was like, it would be so cool to do some LARP stuff. So I'm looking into that for something regional. But other than that, we make appearances at nearly every Midwest con, and we're always looking to go to more. So we'll have meetups and hangouts and just be there to have a good time. But yeah, LARP, that's the big one. I'm really excited about the potential of getting to do some LARP in the near future. So
That is an awesome area, and that's the first time I've heard people bringing up LARP on here so far. That is a really cool one, and like you say, I like the comment. The Venn diagram's actually just a circle. It makes me wonder. I'll have to ask other Fallouters in the future as they come through. Like, will their groups do that too? Where's LARP sit for them? I think that's phenomenal, and I want to give you a chance here towards the end to, of course, shout out your own social media handles where you're active. But then also, when you're done with that, if you'd like to promote some friends of yours, people that we should go check out. Of course, I'm going to have all of your links in the description and the show notes for people. But who else are some other creators we should look at?
yeah, so you can find me at Courier Claire on pretty much everything. I just went through a pretty major rebranding, so the only place that I'm currently still Claire Chwan is Facebook, but otherwise all of my links are Courier.Claire. Otherwise, you can find my group, Great Midwest Commonwealth. It's all one block of text, literally just Great Midwest Commonwealth. Also, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, on everything there. Um, and I do have a ton of friends who do some amazing work. I will shout out the two guys that helped me the most with my troop. Hector, who is Corviday.cosplay. I can send you those links later so you can have the actual
Sure
title.
thing.
And DCW Builds David, two really, really amazing guys. They are big Fallout cosplayers. Amazing. David is a champion level craftsmanship cosplayer. Phenomenal, amazing work. They help me so much with the troop, run meetups, have made props for me, like just phenomenal guys. I couldn't do it without them, honestly. And then Kato, like I mentioned earlier, who's probably my best friend in the world with Fallout stuff. Kato P Cosplay, the house to my Benny. Absolutely love her. I think she's amazing. God, I have so many other amazing Fallout cosplayer friends. Zell Sketch, Alex, which is Wave 97 cosplay. Yeah. Grotch and Clive that are amazing. The lone raiders with dots in between. Like I could go on and on about some of the amazing people that I know and the amazing cosplayers that are there. A lot of them you can find through the troop's Instagram, or through my page, because we do so much cool stuff together. Um, but I always try to make sure that all of the amazing cosplayers that are featured on Great Midwest Commonwealth are tagged, are included in our bio, so you can find a lot of those amazing folks by just scrolling through our Instagram page too. Because wow, they do some cool stuff. So
Dang, that is a heck of a lot and amazing. And
yeah,
to any and all of those people that are listening, the open door invite exists for you as well. You're just as welcome as Claire to come by anytime and talk to us about what you're doing, how your journey went. I mean, This is just a share and share like space for everyone. So your whole troop out there, anytime they want to talk Fallout, they have a place to do it. And, at the end of these interviews, I feel like my jaw's getting tired from sitting here smiling because it's so palpable how energized people like yourself are for this sort of thing. And of course, I'm a Fallout lover, so that's, a big part of it. But dang,
it's easy to talk about something you love like Fallout,
It doesn't get old, Claire. I sit here week after week talking to new people, and I gotta say, an interview show is such a freaking fun thing to do because talk about something you don't get bored of is again hearing people's journey and where they are now and what sort of ambitions you got for the troop, because I just look forward to the next time we get to sit down and talk and see how your future events have gone. It's always an option for you. So to everyone out there that has watched this amazing episode with Claire, I want to give them a big thank you for being here. And I want to thank the audience for tuning in as well. Be sure to follow all of Claire's links. Again, everything that we link in the description, you can go find that on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Wherever you're listening to this, you'll find those nice and handy. What else can I say? I mean, just share and share alike. Tag some other creators. If you're someone listening to this, you're welcome to tag creators on any platform. Get us all interlinked with one another so we can build even cooler Fallout stuff. But again, I will just say a big thank you to Claire and a see you soon. To everyone watching, I'll do a quick recap in just a minute. So we'll throw it to future Kyle and we will sign out of here. So Claire, thank you and be safe out there in the wasteland. Wow, that was an amazing episode. I had a total blast recording that. Claire was phenomenal. All of the guests that have come through on Vault Broadcast have just been stellar, next level, amazing. The community hype is very, very real. I was telling Claire, I don't even remember if this is in the episode or in the after chatter we were having, but I said, creating an interview show like this has been one of the most fun and easy things ever because I don't run into that drought of what am I going to talk about this week? People come through with this huge amount of hype, huge amount of history. I mean, Claire and I probably talked for an extra 15 minutes at the end of the episode, and it's been like that for other guests too. I said to Claire, I honestly, my jaw gets tired from smiling through all these episodes because how can you not? People are sitting here telling us about all their passion with it and how they've gotten this far. I want to throw it out there into the void to see if this can ever become something. But you all know my first piece of real Fallout content has been the TTRPG. I desperately want somehow, some way to get a group of cosplayers in to do the Fallout TTRPG. I now have an office and space that someday, maybe, I mean, I live in the middle of nowhere-ish, but someday people could come to the office. We could do a whole set. We could have, nice cameras and lighting and mics for that. Also, as we do it online already, I watch a ton of actual plays for TTRPGs, Dungeons and Dragons and otherwise, and I love that stuff. And whether it's high production quality in a single, in-person space or whether it's online and whatever, I just have so much fun with it. So I want to thank you all for tuning in, for liking this content, for sharing this content. I remind you that the link right here, overseerkyle.com, gets you to everything. The TTRPG, the podcast, the interviews, everything you could want, even our activities within Fallout 76, because we're making a community event where we're trying to drive people into the game on Friday nights. So around 7 p.m. Eastern time, New York City time that is, we are trying to get people to group up in Fallout 76. It is just right now an exercise in seeing who all wants to come out. We're talking about doing raids in the future together. We're talking about we actually already have scheduled crafting fairs within Fallout 76 for the first and third Saturday of the month. So that's, I think the next one's coming up on, is it August 16th it will be, I believe, is the next Saturday. Let's actually poke around here for an extra second and confirm that. Yes, it is the 16th, so that will be coming up soon enough. I'm just looking to get people in. Come through the door, hang out with us, play some games together, recognize that Fallout is not just a siloed thing. You can have buddies all throughout it. Heck, Marty and Cam, 2Cam Cosplays, they both met up with me in 76 last night. How fun was that? We were doing it over on Twitch live at twitch.tv/overseer Kyle, just like the name, just like everything else. So why don't you be one of those people? Join us in the Discord server. And if you want to go the next level, you could become a supporter of this show and others by going over to ko-fi.com/overseer Kyle and giving either a monthly or one-time financial donation that goes so far to help us. There's been a lot of drama in the community about the brand ambassador program, those 20% off codes. A lot of people are not hitting the quotas they did before. So I am in no shy way willing to beg and grovel and say, help, we just got this gorgeous space. And if you're able to help us keep it, all the better. We're going to do a founder's wall. That is to say that the people who help us reach our first large milestone over there are going to get their names up on a wall in some sort of vault-tec fashion. So look out for that. I have some cute ideas at play. But yeah, again, if you want to financially contribute, it's amazing. If you can't, don't worry about it. What really helps beyond that is sharing this content. If you share this show with people in your other Fallout Discords, if you share it with your friends on, your Fallout Instagram or Facebook group or wherever you put it, we're looking for a constant flow of people to come through the door. I have so much fun with these, and they're so easy to edit that I want to invite you and your friends and everyone you know to come on. You can find the link to submit yourself and them up on overseerkyle.com. Just go to the Vault Broadcast tab, bottom of the page, submission form. Nice and easy. I send people a scheduling link and we get them through the door here. That's how it works. So I want to thank you all for tuning into the episode. Remember, word of mouth, sharing this content is the most powerful and effective thing you can do. And that could mean leaving a comment below because that helps YouTube get the idea to send this out throughout the algorithm, grow in the Fallout community, and as is my goal here, to constantly grow everyone's endeavors. I want all of these boats to rise together. And you could just see how they mesh perfectly with one another, from the cosplayers to the artists to the podcast creators and so on and so forth. So why don't you be a part in helping us build out this vault of ours, build it out, make it stronger, make it last. Until then, everyone, I hope you are very safe out there in the wasteland. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.